What's up, guys? Welcome to yet another episode of me analyzing your replays, and we have yet another PvT, this time diamond level, and today's episode will be focusing around build order efficiency yet again and resource management yet again, because in PvT I think those two are the most important aspects to hold all of those weird PvT timings and those non-weird PvT timings depending on who you play. Also, I have not finished the replay yet before recording this video, so there are some things that will happen later in the game that I want to talk about, and I didn't want to spoil the ending because this replay will also be, or rather this video will also be, about talking how to get back into a game in PvT and the winning conditions you can get. So let's get started. We will be starting with a 1 gate fast expand, of course, Gateway Scout, of course. We will be going for a Twilight Blink opening, which opens up as a 2 gate, but then we add a 3rd gate. We will be talking about that when that comes up. We will be looking at the probe, and as we can see, we once again blocked the CC too early. As you can see, the 400 minerals are hit at 144 in this case. Usually they are hit at like 138 to 140, so you should start blocking at 138 to 140, preferably. But of course at home, the build order is working out. We get a 21. Wait, did we actually get a 21? Hold up. Did we get a gas at 11, pylon at 5? With the Cybercore first? Is that what happened? Did I miss that in my first video? Or in my first watch through this thing? Okay. It is actually Nexus first, so that makes sense. Damn, I haven't seen a Nexus first in a long ass time. Guys, I would always recommend going Cybercore first if you don't go Stargate personally, because you're just much safer against Reapers. You have much more pressure going on, but this is totally fine, right? This is totally fine. We see that it getting Chrono boosted out. We see the Reaper moving over, and as you can see, the Reaper arrives very early compared to the Adept, and usually the Reaper arrives even earlier. Now this is going to be a quick thing on how to micro versus Reapers. If you have an Adept pop out, you don't have to, but if you want to kill the Reaper, you have to look at, does the Reaper move after the first shot? If you shoot one time and you see the Reaper not move, there's like a 90% possibility that you can get the Reaper by just like moving the way you expect the Reaper to go, which in this case can only be this way, because after all, if the Reaper goes this way, the probes will block it, right? So if you would move the Adept this way between the first and second shot, you would get the Reaper. Now we can't get the Reaper. That sucks. We go for a sentry instead to go for the early scouting. Nowadays, going for the sentry out of the gateway is not common anymore. Usually you go for the Adept and then go for the second unit while going for the Twilight, and then warp in the sentry as soon as warp gate finishes, because usually with that sentry scout at that moment, we still have a scout just in time to check for anything weird going on that the Terran might do. Again, it's not the worst thing. This is not about this specific thing isn't build order efficiency. It's just what is more common. Having a sentry out isn't the worst thing, of course. However, the problem is the Adept moves over relatively late, so we will see the factory a little later. We will still see it though, so it shouldn't be too much of a worry. We will see the factory, we will see the 2 Hellions. Now, Hellion openers versus Blink are a little bit of a problem for the Protoss player. It is kind of the worst thing that can happen. It's not horrible, it's just, compared to like a lot of other build orders that the Terran might do, it is just the worst thing. It's not bad, but it's the worst thing. The reaction from our Protoss player here is that we go 2 gate and add a 3rd gateway. And I want to show you guys how this is not a good thing, in my opinion. How this is kind of a bad thing. Let us look at the game, right? We see the Hellions, we see the Stalker, we see the Sentry going out, and then the 2 gates finish, and we instantly warp in 2 Stalkers and go for a battery, which I think, and battery in the main, which I think is a good decision. Batteries are a good decision in this case. We warp in the 2 Stalkers a little bit late, but as you can see, the moment those Hellions arrive, that 3rd gateway isn't up. What we could have done instead is gone for the 3rd Nexus way earlier, because the 3rd Nexus, as you can see, is clearly doable without a third gateway, and we wouldn't even have to skip the 2 stalkers. With a third nexus, what that would mean is we could easily just rebuild the probes, or like more easily rebuild the economy that we would lose to the Hayans. Again, this is going to be focused on the build order. Of course, we could have just built the robo right here. Why am I pinging? You guys are seeing my mouse. God damn it. But like, you could just build the robo right here and have a block, especially with the sentry. Although we don't have a force field in this case. What you would want to do ideally is to get a robo here, or like get this robo here. In that case, a third gateway would have actually been worth it a little bit more. But you could have also just built like 2 gateway, robo, and then shield battery, and then have the stock and position here. And when they grenade you could just block this off with another pylon. You could still go for the nexus. You would still not build this kind of unnecessary third gateway, and you would be in a much better spot in almost every way. And this is what I mean with the build order efficiency. Actually, is stuff like this. Is knowing when you can focus on economy and when to build gateways and when to not build gateways. In this case, we start floating minerals because we're Hayans are in our base, but the most important thing is still happening. Even though we supply block, which doesn't matter because we're losing probes, we're still building probes. A lot of people forget to build probes while they're losing probes. In this case, we're building probes, and that's amazing. That's great. And now we are even in workers, which is kind of a bad spot. But even worse than that is that we're warping in more units, even though we don't have to. Here's the thing, and that's like the key thing as Protoss, is that you only more warp in units when you absolutely have to, either be it to defend shit or to go for an attack. Before you warp in units and you don't have to, you should always get up your economy, you should get up your tech, which in this case we kind of have, and get up, and that's most important, the fucking gateways. If we get up the gateways before army, we will have more army later on. That is the way Protoss works. So every stalker we now build is going to be less units later on, or less ways to spend our bank and our economy later on. That's very important to keep in mind, because what will happen now is we will grab the gas, we will grab the third base very late, like at 5 minutes 10, even though we could have had it like way earlier when we talked about it when the Hayans arrived. Because there isn't really anything that can, again, there wasn't anything that could kill us by just because we spent those 400 minerals, and the third gateway wasn't useful at all for the attack. We could have easily gotten the nexus. And this is what I mean with like trying to learn from your replays on your own without having to like someone be there and like tell you, you can't do this, you can't do this. This is like a really efficient way of like learning on your own, is by looking at like, wait, I think I could have survived this with the nexus while the Hayans go in. I think StarCraft is a game all about being as greedy as you can be and just forcing out a little bit extra greediness, especially against Terran. Especially against Terran. So what will happen now is we will lose no probes because the pull was perfect. Even that, oh come on, that's bullshit. That probe pull was perfect. That was mean. We don't get the Liberator, happens. And now we will slowly add gateways. We already have the tech actually, but no, instead of adding gateways, we add more stalkers. And this is going to lead to a really big problem that we, I think, also talked about already last replay that we analyzed in PvT, where the Terran is gonna, of course, go for a push. Of course, it's not going to be the most efficient push, but they will go for a push. We can't really do anything with the units we have built. Kiting is great and stuff, but that doesn't really do that much, right? As you can see, we get like 1 Marine, maybe 2 Marines. And now we don't have anything. Because we only have... Now we have... Okay, we have 7 gateways now, but they are just recently finished. Against the push that, to be fair, arrives late. So against like a better Terran, those late gates would have instantly killed you. So it arrives late, but we still only have 7 gateways. And since they only finished now, we're lacking in units. Because we built too many units early on, and now we lose the third base because we can't overwhelm this. Because with the double forge style, which our Protoss player is going for, and the only little bit of robo focus, as you can see, since the robotics bay has been delayed, which isn't a bad thing. It's a stylistic choice. We need an overwhelming force of army, and now we're just behind. Like, we are ahead in prop count because the Terran isn't building SCVs. But the Terran has the third CC up, not going for upgrades, but has a really good army. And now, even if we would have been in position, because once again, we could have been like, yeah, like we could have been in position. But even if we would have been in position, we can't really defend this spot because we just don't have enough. Because we didn't build the gateways early enough. Now we get some middle mines, but we once again lose to the third base. And very obviously, right, we are behind now. We are in a horrible spot, especially now that the Terran is going to drop all of his bio into our main base and kills the pylons. We can't warp in anything now. Kills the forge, kills the tech, gets rid of even more eco. We have to recall. Everything is going shitty because we didn't build the gateways earlier on. And now what do we do? What do we do in this situation, right? So we talked about how we fell behind because of our choices early on. But what do we do now? Not every game is going to be perfect, right? Not every game is going to be this perfect, beautiful greediness of Protoss where you're like, oh yeah, we're going to be building the gateways in the perfect moment. We're going to be building the army in the perfect moment. Not every game is going to be like that. This is how games are gonna go, and that is totally fine. But what do we do now? And what our Protoss player does in this moment is, well, so we got good upgrades, so that's nice. We lost the 2 forges, unfortunately, but we've got something that the Terran doesn't have. We've got Disruptors. And what we see now is that the entire play is going to be based around all of our micro units, about out-microing the Terran. So we move over with Blink Stalkers, maybe hoping to go for like a push, because, well, I mean, he just lost a lot of units, right? So we could go for that. And I think this is a really great choice to go for the push after Terran lost a lot. Problem is because they got rid of our gateways, or rather of our pylons on the gateways, and because we don't have a prism, we don't have enough army. We couldn't build anything, right? Of course, we retake the... Actually, we don't retake the third base. I thought because the bank got low, we take the third base. That's not true. We just warp in a lot of zealots, which I also understand because we have to defend. And now look at this. Beautiful. And another one? No, I think that Disrupt actually dies. And now the way this Protoss is going to be playing this matchup is by focusing everything around these micro-intensive units and try to trade as efficiently as possible. Now the Zealots are a problem in a way, because Zealots, of course, they don't really work that well for Disruptors. I love Zealots for 1 buys though, because they keep a part of the army back. What I would always recommend is not sending in 4 Zealots in these situations, but sending in, like, if you send in not all of these Zealots, but like about half of these Zealots together with these Zealots, you really force the Terran to stay back so you're safe in building your third base. And if you are really lucky, the Terran is gonna like try to attack you out of desperation or like out of panic, and then they will run into your Disruptors while all of your Zealots will destroy the reinforcements that come from the main base. Because with 8 to 10 Zealots, that's like a really crucial amount in a lot of cases where you just kill the reinforcements, especially if there's nothing in the bunker, right? Because it is still very essential to have the third base up and running, because the main is starting to run out, the natural is also starting to run out. But let's see where this goes. So to summarize that point, build more Stalkers than Zealots, only use Zealots for 1 buys if you focus around Disruptors. We lose the third base once again because we don't have vision, which is a point I haven't focused on a lot this specific analysis. We don't have a lot of vision. We have vision right here, which is amazing. And this observer could be easily here, right? Because right now we have vision on this path because of these 4 Zealots, but we don't have vision where we actually want to take the third base, which is very important. Anyways, now we're in position to grab the third base. I don't think we canceled, so we lost another 400 minerals. And we're in a really, really bad spot. Like, we don't even have the money for pylons right now. So we supplied when we can't even do anything about that. And once again, we tried to take the third base, but we're going to be out of position because we don't have vision. Right now we have vision here though, at least. Like, our Protoss player learned like, oh, we should fix that. But then we took the third base at the other location, so fuck. That doesn't work at all. So we lose the third base. However, our Disruptor count is growing. Our Disruptor count is growing. Through the Disruptor, we see that he's dropping us once again, as Terrans do. Let's see how we defend this drop. We lose the Disruptor? No, we don't. It's very important to not lose the Disruptor, so keeping, like in this situation, if you base everything on your disruptors, you have to make sure that those disruptors stay safe, stay sound. But we're getting more and more disruptors right now. And Terran is staying on bio. And one of the winning conditions is just having too many disruptors and then praying that the Terran player doesn't build too many liberators. Or that you get enough economy up while you're building up the disruptor count, that when the Terran transitions to liberators, you are ready for it. Right, but in this case, we got the disruptors. Let's see, let's look at this. Imps are still small. Ooh, that's a yikes. That disruptor doesn't do anything, and unfortunately the disruptor's in a horrible position right now. However, fucked up the micro. Disruptors are amazing to come back into games, especially when you play on like a diamond level, where Terrans will oftentimes fuck up their micro. And now we build a lot of sentries and we build a lot of stalkers because we have a lot of gas, right? And like we're building range units which work way better together with disruptors. And this is the moment where I stopped watching the replay because I was like, you know what? I think this might be an interesting replay to just watch and to see how this will go, right? So we get another decent hit, we get one amazing hit, but we lose the disruptors. It's very crucial that we don't lose the disruptors because now our disruptor count has been reset. And if the disruptor count is reset, this won't work out anymore. Like, look at this, like the trades are bad. Or the problem is the trades are bad and we have to warp and zealots, which, as I said, don't really work that well before disruptors. So we just kind of have these units that you either have to have a lot of to work out, or you just have to use for harassment. But harassment really isn't our main focus right now. Our main focus is to survive and to stay in the game somehow. But still, the disruptor production is very constant. It's even being chrono boosted. So let's see how this goes, right? The disruptor, once again, amazing connection. But also, once again, we lose the disruptor. So basically, what I'm saying really is that if you're this far behind versus Terran, one way to get back into the game is just to get a good disruptor count and to keep that good disruptor count. Keep range units, and if you can, and if you get the Nexus, go for zealot run-bys that are big enough to really force this Terran to either stay home or make a really bad decision. 3 zealots don't do it. 3 zealots are good when you're ahead, but they don't do it if you're behind. Because that's 300 minerals, and well, Nexus costs 400 minerals. And see the problem there? We need the Nexus very, very desperately. Anyways, let's see where this goes. Let's look at this together. We rebuild the Twilight to get High Templar Archives, which is... Archons are really bad versus EMPs, but if you have this much gas, fucking go for it. Right? Fucking go for it. So the Zealot scouts this once again, and we have this observer here, we have this observer here, we have this observer here. A little bit too many observers on one spot. If this observer would have been here, that would have been amazing. And because of that, once again, the army is out of position. But we've got disruptors now. And look at how much the Terran has to move instead of shoot. We actually move back completely, which I don't agree with, because that Nexus is like so incredibly important. But do we... Oh no! Oh no! I wasn't ready. Oh no. I was not ready for that. Ah, that sucks. That's the downside of disruptors. But look at how well we could have come back, because now look at this situation. This is very important. Like we lose to the Archons, and we'll probably lose the game right here. However, this is the army at home. This is what the Terran has at home. Like, if we go back, look, the game is over at this point. But if we go back, imagine if those disruptors would have hit. Like, if that disruptor would have hit this part of the army, and then we would have killed this part of the army. And imagine if we would have let the Nexus survive. This is what the Terran has at home. This is the Terran's bank. Guys, your opponent sucks. Keep at it, especially with disruptors. Keep at it. Keep fighting. There's always a chance, because the units lost is freaking even. This is how amazing disruptors are. Actually, I should point there. I should point there. Units lost is even. This is how amazing disruptors are. So the way this Protoss player tried to get back into the game was amazing. It didn't quite work out because we lost the Disruptors over and over again, and those are very, very important, and because we didn't focus the Nexus. But also please remember what I said about the early game, about building gateways, about trying to be as greedy as possible, grabbing the Nexus, grabbing the gateways early to defend those pushes, because to defend those pushes we have to be in a really good position, and the higher you get, the more greedy you have to be. Guys, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you did, feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, the important shit, you know. Also, I do stream every day 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. CEST. The link is down below. And also, I offer coaching. If you want to know more about that, check out the info box below my stream. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped. Love you all. Take care, guys. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah, peace.